Greetings, physics enthusiasts. Step inside our advanced optics lecture hall. Today, we analyze a brilliant mechanism that isolates the true nature of light through pure geometric refraction, Fresnel's Biprism. As a physics enthusiast, I want you to look past simple textbook sketches and focus on the strict spatial geometry at play. We will break down how a single wavefront can be elegantly divided to create perfect phase coherence without the mechanical interference of scattering slit boundaries. We will master the core governing equations, map out the precise laboratory measurements needed to solve for unknown variables, and ultimately trace how these classical wave principles paved the way for revolutionary discoveries in early atomic models. Grab your notebooks, calibrate your minds, and let us begin our mathematical exploration of wave interference. Let us examine the central component of our apparatus, the biprism itself. This is not your standard equilateral prism. It is engineered by joining two thin, acute-angled prisms base to base. The resulting optics show a highly specific layout. The central obtuse angle is remarkably flat, measuring exactly 179 degrees. Consequently, the two remaining base angles are incredibly small, typically measuring just 30 arcminutes, which is equivalent to 1/2 of a single degree. When our primary light wavefront hits this flat double wedge, the upper half undergoes a slight downward deviation, while the lower half undergoes an identical upward deviation. This subtle geometric bending is the precise mechanism that splits our single wavefront, laying the foundation for our coherent optical field without any physical boundary obstruction. Now, let us track the ray paths to understand how coherence is maintained. A monochromatic light source passes through a single narrow vertical slit, generating a uniform, expanding wavefront. As this wave strikes the biprism, refraction divides it into two separate emerging beams. If you follow these refracted rays backward into space, they appear to emanate from two virtual points, which we label as small letter s with subscript 1 and small letter s with subscript 2. These are our virtual coherent sources. Because they are both spatial replicas of the exact same original slit source, they share an identical frequency and hold a constant phase relationship. The critical spatial separation between these two virtual sources is designated by the mathematical variable small letter d, which we will use shortly. As our two refracted coherent beams travel forward, they begin to intersect, creating a shared volume of space, known as the interference zone. Within this specific region, the overlapping light waves obey the principle of superposition. Where the wave crests align perfectly with other wave crests, they experience constructive interference, manifesting as brilliant, high-intensity bright fringes on our observation screen. Conversely, where a wave crest meets a wave trough, destructive interference occurs, completely canceling out the light and producing pitch-black dark fringes. The final result is a beautiful, highly stable pattern of alternating linear fringes. We measure the center-to-center distance between any two consecutive bright bands or any two consecutive dark bands as our fringe width, denoted by the Greek letter beta. Let us formalize this phenomenon with its core mathematical equation. The width of our interference fringes is governed by an elegant relationship, beta equals lambda multiplied by capital D divided by small letter d. In this formula, beta represents the measured fringe width. The Greek letter lambda represents the wavelength of our light source. The variable capital D represents the total direct distance stretching from the original single slit all the way to the focal plane of our eyepiece. Finally, small letter d represents the separation distance between our two virtual sources, S1 and S2. To utilize this setup as a diagnostic tool to find our unknown wavelength, we algebraically rearrange our terms to isolate our target variable, yielding the equation lambda equals beta times small letter d divided by capital D. In the laboratory, executing this calculation presents a unique practical obstacle. While we can easily measure the screen distance capital D using a standard meter scale, and we can read the fringe width beta using a precise micrometer eyepiece, we cannot physically place a ruler between our virtual sources S1 and S2 because they do not physically exist. To overcome this, we employ an ingenious optical technique known as the displacement method, which relies on the principles of conjugate foci. We introduce a convex magnifying lens into the optical path between our biprism and the eyepiece. By systematically shifting this lens along our optical bench, we can discover two distinct positions where sharp, clearly focused images of our virtual sources are projected directly onto our crosshairs. Let us examine the mathematics of this lens displacement. At the first lens position, closer to the biprism, we observe a highly magnified image of our virtual sources. We use our micrometer eyepiece to measure the distance between these two bright image points, recording this value as small letter d with subscript 1. Next, we slide the lens further down the bench to its second conjugate position, closer to the eyepiece. Here, we observe a clearly diminished image of our sources, and we record this smaller separation distance as small letter d, with subscript 2. According to optical lens theory, the true, unmagnified separation distance, small letter d, is precisely equal to the geometric mean of these two independent measurements. Small d equals the square root of d1 multiplied by d2. This masterful manipulation of light waves directly influenced how physicists later modeled the fundamental structure of matter. As the scientific community embraced the mathematical reality of wave propagation proven by experiments like the Biprism, later theorists realized that particles of matter could also exhibit wave-like behaviors. When scientists began developing advanced atomic models, they integrated these exact wave principles. Specifically, Louis de Broglie proposed that orbiting electrons behave as standing matter waves wrapped around the nucleus. For an electron to maintain a stable, non-radiating orbit inside an atom, its circular path must accommodate an integer number of full wavelengths. The governing equation dictates that the circumference, 2 times pi times small letter r, must equal small letter n multiplied by lambda, where lambda is the de Broglie wavelength. This exact synthesis of wave mechanics solved the mysteries of early atomic structures. By viewing the electron as a wave rather than a simple spinning billiard ball, physicists successfully derived the quantization of angular momentum. This matched the empirical breakthroughs of the Bohr atomic model, where angular momentum, mass small letter m times velocity small letter v times radius small letter r, must equal an integer small letter n times Planck's constant, small letter h, divided by 2 pi. The stable, discrete energy states of modern atoms are the direct mathematical result of constructive wave interference, identical in principle to the bright fringes formed by our classical Biprism. Keep questioning the universe, analyze your variables carefully, and I will see you all in our next physics masterclass lecture.